stories from Euroasia, a former global mission pioneer now leading global mission in Tanzania, and a global mission pioneer working in the Middle East. Coming up next on Mission 360. Hello and welcome to Mission 360. I'm Gary Krause. Today's program is coming to you from Amman, Jordan, and I'm standing in front of the Jordan National Gallery of Fine Arts. And the artwork in this building stretches through to another building on the other side of this park in front of me where there are statues and works of art. This is contemporary art, which is kind of interesting in a city that has so much rich history. And in fact, this stretches way back into Bible times. The people, the Ammonites, lived here. They worshipped the god Moloch. And the rich history of this place tells a long story. And it's not too far from here that Mount Nebo is located, where of course Moses looked out into the promised land. Just on the outskirts of Amman, Jordan, back in the 1980s, archaeologists found a treasure trove of figurines, human statues, just little ones, going back to the 7th century BC. Well, we're going to have a lot more coming from Jordan on this program, but first up, let's travel to Euroasia and to learn more about global mission work there.
At 64, some people in the country of Moldova have already retired. But Ivan hasn't given the idea much thought yet. He works as a global mission pioneer in Enininoi, where there is no Adventist congregation. As a pioneer, Ivan looks for ways he can help the people in this community. The first thing he did when he moved here was talk with local government leaders to see how he could serve the community. Local leaders provided him with a list of underprivileged families who needed food. So every few days, Ivan carries bags of food to homes throughout the community. This is just one way Ivan has developed relationships with people. When Ivan met Oleg about a year ago, he discovered that Oleg was suffering from health issues. Oleg's legs were losing strength and becoming discolored. At the time, he drank and smoked a lot. Ivan prayed with him and offered advice on how to improve his health. Every Sunday, Ivan conducts programs about healthy living that are open to the community. Oleg agreed to attend one program, and afterward, he immediately stopped drinking and smoking. He switched to a vegetarian diet, and because of his choices, his health has improved. Now he's able to walk everywhere and exercises regularly to maintain his leg strength. Sadly, Oleg's wife Alexandra was also experiencing health issues and is now partially paralyzed. She has spent months in this bed and is unable to move around. Ivan and his friend, Pastor Dmitry, went to visit and pray with the couple. After some discussion, their needs were apparent, and Ivan promised to bring them some items to help ease the challenges they face. His education and training in public health helps him assess people's physical needs along with their spiritual needs. After visiting Oleg and Alexandra, Ivan and Dmitry meet with Lydia, an active 80-year-old woman with an interest in health and wellness. She attended one of Ivan's health programs after a friend's recommendation and was eager to learn more. During this visit, Lydia wants to talk about spiritual health. Ivan and Dmitry are able to answer many of her questions through Bible study and discussion. They plan to meet again to continue to talk and study the Bible regularly. Global mission pioneers, like Ivan, place a strong emphasis on relationships. When a real relationship is made, a pioneer can have a greater impact on a person's life. It gives them the opportunity to introduce people to Jesus and make an everlasting difference. Ivan made sure to fulfill his promise to Oleg and Alexandra. He returned with a new mattress to help relieve some of Alexandra's pain from lying in bed. Ivan also wants her to feel free again, and a new wheelchair will allow her to move around in ways she hasn't been able to for months. She can't hold back the tears as she tries it out for the first time. The last few years of health challenges caused Alexandra to lose hope. She questioned whether anyone cared for her and her husband. But Ivan has shown her that there is a God who still cares for her. His actions have helped them accept Jesus into their hearts. Please pray for global mission pioneers like Ivan who are reaching their communities in fresh, exciting ways. Their efforts can not only affect people's lives today, but can also give them eternal hope in Jesus. Thank you for supporting Global Mission.
My guest is Fadi Haddad, who is a Jordanian working here in his home country of Jordan. Thanks so much for joining us, Fadi.
You're welcome.
Now, you graduated from Middle East University in Lebanon. Why did you go there?
Well, first, I believe that God has called me for ministry, and I believe Middle East University is one of the best places to go and study there in this area of the world. So I decided to go there and continue my education there.
Excellent. Now, you were born into an Adventist family, but for a period of time there, you kind of like put it behind you. What led you to decide to give your life to Jesus again?
Well, after I had some personal experiences with God, I started to feel that I need to go back and search for the truth again. So I started looking and questioning. I had some visitations from the pastors here. So that led me to see that the truth is here. This is the place that I should continue going in, and this is where I see that God can use me. And this is the place where God will lead me through my life.
In what ways did your life change once you recommitted yourself to Him?
Well, it's changed all over. You can say 180 degrees. The thing is, you're going with the world, you go just directly the opposite way. You have troubles, then you experience peace. You have problems, you see these problems are being solved one by one. So this is the blessings of experiencing God's love and mercy in my life and each person's life.
Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about what you are doing now.
Well, I'm now working as a global mission pioneer in Zarqa, which is the second largest city in Jordan. We have a church building there. We're taking care of the church there, reaching out to the community with no barriers, looking for both the needs and the spiritual and the physical needs of the people, trying to show the love of Jesus to the people in each and every way, trying to mingling with people, befriend them, and looking for their need and the true need of meeting Jesus.
I imagine that almost nobody in Jordan has heard of Adventists before. So are there barriers that you face in your work?
Of course, barriers are there everywhere, but especially being an Adventist in this part of the world, we're not a lot here, we're just few, and this has been like a barrier for us. Other Christians, when they hear this name Adventist, they start thinking, what is that? Is it a cult? Is it a church, or what is it? But we're trying, building friendship, getting to know everything about Adventists. We're telling them to people, showing them what Adventist people are, what is our message, and everything that is about our message.
What sort of a response are you receiving?
Well, looking at the responses, there is a lot variety of responses. Some people are curious to know more. Some people, they just block us. They don't open for conversation. Some people have some wrong understandings or wrong ideas about what Adventists are. So it varies, but when we get to know people, when people get to know us, they see that we're, first of all, Christians like them. We don't have any weird ideas or weird beliefs, and we aim just to follow Jesus.
Excellent. So describe some of the activities that you are involved in the community.
Well, in the community of Zarqa and Jordan, I'm trying to reach out to people, first of all, to show them the love of Jesus. We're trying to meet their spiritual needs, their physical needs as much as we can. We're trying to do some community services like health expos, visiting some orphanages, some care homes, and just reaching out to the people in every and special way. Especially we're working with the youth to make our youth, used to be in mission, in service, and to show, and through their actions, through their lives, how we are as Christians can affect the community that we are working and living in.
Excellent. So you have a group of Adventist young people that you're able to work with?
Yes.
Yeah. And how are they responding to the opportunity to be involved in service?
Well, they like this idea, they love it actually, and they're open to it. Whenever we suggest some of the things, they totally agree with it, they support it, and they give everything so they can make it true.
Wonderful. What are some of the major needs in Jordanian society? What sort of needs do people have? What sort of problems do they have?
Well, I'm not going to call it problems, but it's challenges.
Right.
Well, we have some challenges here. As I said, as Adventists, we're few here, and it's really hard to make new people joining the church. That's because we need to look more about their needs as people. Sometimes they look for education, sometimes they look for work or any other things, but it is hard for them to find. Right. So one of the things, they go to the church, but sometimes we see some other churches who give these opportunities that we don't have, so they just leave the church and they go to other churches where they find their needs. So this is one of the things. The other thing is we're really wanting some workers here. We need some missionaries here. We need people to work for God. Mm-hmm. This is a challenge for us. We don't have many locals. We're getting the help of foreigners, and this is good, so we can recruit more locals and have these people serve for Jesus.
Fadi, thank you so much for what you are doing in the community.
You're welcome.
And I know that it's challenging, but God will continue to bless you in what you're doing.
Amen. Amen.
And viewers at home, please pray for Fadi, pray for the young people that he's working with, and pray for their ministry in the community, that they will continue to touch many lives for Jesus. We'll be right back with more Adventist Mission after this break. Welcome back to Amman, Jordan, and behind me is the King Abdullah Mosque. And you can see the beautiful blue mosaic dome. This was built back in the 1980s, and some 3,000 people can gather for prayer. Next up, let's travel to Tanzania and meet Godwin, who began his ministry as a global mission pioneer.
Our guest today is Pastor Lekundayo from the Northern Tanzania Union Conference. Welcome, Pastor.
Thank you so much.
I understand that you are Masaai.
Yes, I am a Masaai.
And that you grew up on the savannah in Tanzania as a shepherd boy.
Sure.
Can you tell me a little bit about how the shepherd boy came to be a Seventh-day Adventist church leader?
Well, I could call it, it was God's really plan from the beginning. Maybe it's like what Jeremiah says, that God called him since he was in his mother's womb. Because first of all, I went to school to be enrolled for school, but it was not my father's plan, or rather my dad's plan. My dad's plan was to swap me with my elder brother, who has the age needed for school. And when I went to school, my dad expected that in any case, they would have never accepted me for school, for I was underage. And I still remember my day one to school, when the teacher asked me to stretch my hand over my head and try to touch the tip of the ear. There's no way he would have asked me how old I was, because he knew I was not able to tell when I was born. And when I tried to stretch my hand over my ear, I could not touch it. And I looked into the face of the teacher, and I heard him saying, of course through the translator, he's still underage, so we can't enroll him. But later again, he changed his words and said, well, we will enroll him for school. And he should tell his dad that as from today, he has to come to school. If he doesn't come to school, his dad will be taken straight to the prison. And so that's how I got enrolled for school, and of course I continued. God was on my side every time. I passed my exams for primary school. I went to secondary schools. And when I was finishing my last year for O levels, the late Faris Muganda, who is the father to Dr. Baraka Muganda, who happened to have been a youth director of GC, he was conducting an evangelistic campaign just beside the walls of the school where I was. I was a boarding school student. And so I kept on absconding from the school, attending these meetings, and thank God I got converted. And I became a Seventh-day Adventist. And from then, I had plans to go to train to become a teacher, something I did. And I taught for 10 years. But I had never had satisfaction in my heart. I always had a voice inside calling me that there is something bigger than being a teacher which you could do. So no wonder later I went to train again to become a minister of religion, or rather a pastor, something which took me like 2 years to get my ministerial diploma. And after finishing, I went to be a district pastor, something I enjoyed most, visiting church members and non-church members for about 8 years before I was elected to become a global mission pioneer. And that's the time, I should say, when I enjoyed the ministry most, because I could visit, unentered territories. Coming from the unreached people background, I really enjoyed taking the message, or rather the gospel message, to these people who had never heard about it. And I recruited many lay pioneers, and I visited them, shared their experiences, encouraged them. And as I said before, if I was to talk about the time I enjoyed working as a pastor, that was the time.
Mm-hmm. How have global mission projects and pioneers affected the Adventist work in Tanzania? What difference have they made for you?
The global mission has done a lot in Tanzania because, of course, as you could imagine, we don't have enough pastors. And even if we wish we could reach everywhere, but it has never been practical. So all what we have always been doing is to send these lay pioneers to, like clearing the bush, let me call it clearing the bush. They go ahead before even we start to establish church companies and church congregations. And it is then after they have gone and cleared the way when you can bring a pastor who could now start to organize these new converts into church companies, into church, organize the churches. And we really thank God for them. They have always done what could never have been done if not because of the global mission pioneers.
What is the greatest challenge that global mission faces in your union?
The global mission pioneers, the greatest challenge I will say is transport. You know, most of them, they can't afford even to buy a bicycle, so they will spend many hours, walking on their feet and the hot savannah, sunshine, and by the time they visit from one home to another, they are totally exhausted. They can't, what I'm saying is that they can't visit many homes because they don't have any kind of transport.
How do you think that being a global mission director has impacted your approach to mission as the president of your union?
Well, as a president of the union, you see there are two big things. When we sit in our meetings, which I normally chair as the union executive committee chair, when they bring up anything to do with global mission, I have really that attitude, positive attitude about it, because it is something myself I went through. I've seen how it works for the better and how it makes the work to move faster. And secondly, it gives me that spirit of visiting these lay pioneers with limited time I have, but I visit them and encourage them.
Viewers at home, thanks for joining us today. If you would like to help support the transportation needs of our pioneers all over the world, please visit AdventistMission.org and click on the Donate page. Thank you so much for your support.
Next up, we travel back to Euroasia to learn more about Adventist mission in that region.
This field has a greater purpose than just soccer. Through this game, children and teenagers are being mentored to live better lives. Kyrgyzstan is located in the heart of Central Asia. Once a part of the former Soviet Union, it is now a melting pot of cultures and backgrounds, where Christianity is the minority. Many Kyrgyz own animals as a source of income. Shepherds tend to flocks of sheep, cows, goats, or horses. They have continued the tradition of living a nomadic lifestyle. The mountainous landscape causes them to move seasonally to find vegetation for their animals. During the spring months, they begin their trek into the mountains until the colder weather returns later in the year. Despite the natural beauty of this country, there are some challenges to living in the city. In some neighborhoods, drugs and alcohol are easily available to children and teenagers, and some of them experiment with these substances. When they have a lot of free time, it's easy for them to develop bad habits. By being part of a soccer team, children and teenagers are able to avoid the negative influences that they might encounter elsewhere. For most, soccer is the only other activity available to them. It gives them a chance to be part of a positive team who care about each other. Soccer practices take place on a small field on the campus of Heritage Christian School, where some of the players attend. At this Adventist school, more than 300 children receive a high-quality education. The teachers work hard to be good examples for their students to observe and to potentially become positive influences in their own homes. The same lessons are applied to the soccer field. This is a space where they learn teamwork, healthy living, and respect. This program is open to any youth willing to be part of a positive team environment. As a result, some of these players' lives have been transformed. It has become an escape from the negativity they often find in other parts of their lives. The program is led by a small group of international volunteers who want to make a difference in the lives of these youth. They feel called by God to impact the community around them. Their goal is to positively influence the lives of the youth, socially, morally, and physically. Through their work, they have seen improvement in countless lives. A major challenge they face is weather. The conditions are hard to predict, and the winter season makes it difficult to practice. Even in the worst conditions, the youth are willing to meet. Sometimes it means shoveling piles of snow from the entire field. The group prays for the day they can play on an indoor field. A goal of this school is to build an indoor sports complex to host the soccer program and expand the number of activities they offer. It would allow them to host a variety of meetings and events for the community. Please pray that these plans will soon become a reality. Thank you for supporting projects like these through the mission offerings.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on today's program. And I hope that you've enjoyed our 360-degree view of mission around the world, from Asia to Europe to here in the Middle East. So many diverse cultures, so many diverse people groups, many different languages. We have people who are very religious in their own ways, and we have people who are living their lives without any reference to God or the church. And I want to ask you to please continue to pray for these people and pray for the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Pray that we will find new and better ways to effectively and holistically share the love of God with so many people in so many places who so desperately need to know about Him. And I want to thank you for your continuing support of mission. We consider you part of the Adventist Mission family because you are supporting through prayer, through your finances, and through your personal involvement. As a small token of our appreciation, I'd like to give you a small gift. It's something simple. It's a luggage tag that you can attach to your bags, and it has the word Adventist Mission on it. And those words will remind you of the importance of mission. Well, for Adventist Mission, I'm Gary Krause, and I hope that you can join me next time right here on Mission 360.